hottest comic books in the world. Over $100,000 has just moved in 7 days. Let's find out what investment choices were made this week. Hit the like, slap the subscribe button. And number 10 on the list is the first appearance of Thanos, Drax the Destroyer, and Star Fox. A triple key. We have Iron Man 55. Let's not forget about the Infinity Gauntlet spec that happened on the trending 10 just a few weeks ago. Some wishful thinking that Josh Brolin may reprise his role as one of the most iconic villains to have ever hit the screen as it pertains to Marvel, but some would argue all time. We have Star Fox, who's Thanos' brother. Will Harry Styles reprise the role? I mean, Batista seemingly finished portraying Drax the Destroyer. There is one new 9/8 that has hit the census in the last 6 months. That's how long it's been since we've seen Iron Man 55 on the Hot 10. And this book is trending around the $10,000 marker in a 9/8, and the highest it achieved was 20 grand.
Number 9, Batman 181. First appearance of Poison Ivy. This book is notoriously difficult to find in grade. The red on it would rub pretty often and cause a lot of color loss. And the other thing is this book is tough to find complete. There was a pinup poster as a centerfold of Batman and Robin that would be removed quite a bit by collectors and actually people, young children who read and bought this book off the newsstand. A 5.5 of this first appearance of Poison Ivy sold for $750. That's up 5% on this book. We had almost $4,000 spent above the 12-month average this week alone. And really, it's no surprise. There are only 4 copies of this book in a 9.8. That explains to you how rare and difficult it is in high grade. We had issue 189, first appearance of the Silver Age Scarecrow, has double that in a 9.8. And that's only 8 issues later. This book is wanted, in demand, and with absolute Batman, the way it's going, introducing the recreation of characters that we all love, I wouldn't be surprised to see that people are maybe jumping onto a book like this early because we may be seeing a Poison Ivy just on the horizon.
Oh, that's interesting. The absolute universe, modern comics spiking books on the Hot 10. Never thought I'd see the day, Jeff. Well, I'll tell you one thing. We've been doing this video for over 4 years straight every week without skipping a beat. Would love it if you subscribe to the channel, but also the #1 way to best support the channel is download Kiki. Bad idea.
Thank you for the support, and let's hit him with number 8.
The same year as Poison Ivy from 1966, we have Fantastic Four 52, the first appearance of T'Challa, the Black Panther. 7 different sales, clearing $4,000 this week, and the highest for a 6.5 above the recent 12-month average. It takes 3 sales above that average to land on the Hot 10, by the way. It sold for $1,025. That's up 22%. We have so much news on Black Panther this week that it's clearly impacting the collectible, and I personally think this is a very undervalued book. Let's just jump to it. The France Annecy Animation Festival happened this last week, and it actually premiered the Eyes of Wakanda animation episode 1. And it's an anthology-style series that follows the disgraced former member of the Dora Milaje 1260 BC. We got some terrible news about the open-world Wakanda game seemingly canceled, let alone what's happening in the pages of comic books. Marvel Knights, Christopher Priest, Joe Quesada, writing a very provocative Black Panther story.
It's juicy, it's relevant, and so is this book at number 7. Ultimate Fallout number 4, first appearance of Miles Morales.
One of the biggest spec books of this decade.
Is this number right? 10 sales, almost $8,000 spent this week on this book. The 9.8 sold for $1,020. That is up 10% on this book. For a book that doesn't really have much really going on and just a lot of potential. Now, we did have the casting of Liza, let me make sure I said this right, Colin Zayas, who is potentially to be playing in live action Miles Morales' mom. Now, the internet's buzzing with this because we did have in Spider-Man Homecoming the uncle who played the Prowler in the Spider-Verse live action saying how he has a nephew in Queens area. So this is kind of leading to the concept that Miles Morales is really in the MCU in some form or fashion. And the ultimate goal, I believe, is to get him out of an animated format and into live action, where he could either be teaming up with Peter Parker in some form or fashion, or potentially taking over the mantle.
At number 6, New Mutants 98, first appearance of Deadpool. Did not think we'd be talking about this book here. Near $12,000 in sales, above the recent 12-month average. 9.8 direct, going for $1,100, up 3%. 3 newsstand 9.8 sold this last week. The highest for $25.65. That's up 13%. I looked at the prices. And then I was like, okay, no, it does make sense because people are purchasing 9/8 of New Mutants 98 for sub $1,000 if they're being patient right now. This was a book that was peaking above 1,500 throughout the release of Deadpool Wolverine last year. In mainstream news in regards to Deadpool, we found out that How I Met Your Mother's Neil Patrick Harris is going to be voicing the Merc with the Mouth in the virtual reality Deadpool game.
And Ryan Reynolds does an excellent job going to social media, kind of poking fun at him having his job stolen by Neil Patrick Harris.
I think the big news that's actually happening low key is that Ryan Reynolds is writing an X-Force movie that wouldn't come out for a few years, clearly, but it's said that he's going to be utilizing mutants that are fair game, including Hugh Jackman and possibly Storm and maybe Josh Brolin's Cable.
In at number 5 is a repeater. Back-to-back weeks now. Fantastic Four Annual number 6. First appearance of Annihilus. First appearance of Franklin Richards. And first appearance of the Cosmic Control Rod. This book had 7 sales above the 12-month average. Almost $7,000 spent. With a 9.4 sell up 6% for $3,095. The smallest yet biggest news of the week is not coming out of the US, it's coming out of Mexico, as a statue was released at the convention out there of Franklin Richards as a baby. This book, I don't care about Annihilus. It is being spec'd on right now because of Franklin Richards. The most powerful mutant in MCU history is going to be coming here in July as we get to see what happens in this Fantastic Four film.
At the list at number 4, we have Star Wars number 1. First appearance of so many of the famous characters from the Star Wars legacy. And this came out in 1977, predating the release of the actual movie. $10,000 has sold above the recent 12-month average. Over the last week, a 9/8 hit near $3,000, which is about the average, but that is a great marker to kind of tell the health of this comic book that is beloved by Bronze Age collectors and 80s kids. The big news this week is that the new Starfighter film is going to star Ryan Gosling and Mia Goth. Some excellent names to be brought into the Star Wars mythos. And we also have like rumors of Ryan Gosling portraying a version of Black Panther this last week. Like clearly they're trying to bring him into Disney.
Those actors are great, but the biggest thing for me is that Sean Levy is tied to this film as the director. The scope of films that he can create is so spectacular and wild to me that someone can think on so many different levels that the creativity that we're going to see for this Star Wars film, I think, is something that's going to be really special and is really going to resonate and hit.
Which brings us to one of the comics that people are purchasing and clearly holding. Marvel Superhero Secret Wars issue number 8. Now, there are so many of these books that exist that it's kind of hard to tell, but you don't see this many 9/8 sales unless people are straight up investing.
21 sales above the 12-month average with almost $8,500 spent on this book. We had 4 9.8 sell above the 12-month average. One of them hit $540. It's up 12%. And a newsstand, 9/8 up 31% for $1,350. This Tom Holland spec for Brand New Day is legit. And anything really symbiote is just blowing up like crazy. Now, will this film be too bloated? I do like the concept that Brand New Day means brand new characters, brand new villains. So we're seeing a lot of hype on potentially characters and big actors coming into this movie. I mean, we've talked Sadie Sink to death already, but we're hearing rumors of Nicole Kidman coming in, potentially as a villain, maybe Silver Sable, some type of Harry Osborn coming in or Hobgoblin. This could be everything and anything, and I'm here for it because, like we said, a new beginning. So we're gonna probably see some new characters that we've been wanting to see and could come out of the woodworks or anywhere.
I mean, that's why we're talking Sinister Six so much, because there's so many damn characters. But I do think the biggest casting potential is causing number 2 to jump up on the list. ASM 129, and I'm not talking about the Jackal. I'm talking about John Bernthal, Punisher in Brand New Day. On one end, seems preposterous, but on the other hand, Tom Holland, John Bernthal in the same movie sounds so good.
Man, the morality issues that he's gonna face is gonna be wild.
A 9.2 is up 2%, and a 9.8 sold for $18,600. That's up 4%. And the last 9.8 sale was for $15,000 in April. Is it skyrocketing in price and adjusting? No, the $15,000 sale was off white to white pages. This was a white pager, which matters for this book. There's 211 9/8s on the census. How does a sub $20,000 sale feel for a white pager?
Hearing that there's over 200 9.8s of this book, and they're not all gonna be white pages, so I get it. And seeing it hit $18,000 is actually pretty impressive. And for me, if I really had to project the future in about 3 years, I can see this book hitting heights of 25K. Could that be unfathomable for a lot of people? Maybe, but for how much they're integrating the Punisher in movies and shows, and they seem to be all in on him, I don't think that's unrealistic for us to see that number.
Over $30,000 spent in 7 days. Clearly, some people must agree with you, Jeff. And of all the characters we just discussed and all the spec, there is one character we have not discussed who's leading the list at number 1, who has one of the most uncertain futures. Before we get to that, I want you to know how to win this book. Superman, A Friendship Unleashed, the Milkbone variant. Join the SMS group on comictom.com, our text message group. It's how we pick the random winner every single week. You keep up with all the things we're doing on the show, but you get access to giveaways. Henceforth, sign up once and you're in for life. Number 1 on the list this week, ASM 300, the first full appearance of Venom. And with no new news and nothing but spec on symbiote keys, and I'm talking black suit keys, we are pretty far removed from the Venom symbiote as a character. An uncertainty on Tom Holland, an uncertainty on the future of Venom. There's more anti-Venom spec happening right now. Is this just a sign of the marketplace and people buying books that are beloved for their PC?
20 sales, over $12,000 spent this week. We had a 9.6 sell for $9.50 and 5 other 9.6s sell this week as well. A newsstand 9.6 sold for $16.22. That's up 15%. So yeah, this has nothing to do with MCU or Sony. This is just a book people want. And we have had nothing to do with Venom for a little while now, yet this book is always on this list.
I think convention season is when people start to kick into high gear and start filling up books into their collection. And mind you, this is a book that many people have multiple copies of. You know, one's not enough.
I'm a big believer in dupes. If I like a book, then I like multiples of it. Why would I not like it once and not like it 5 times over?
Well, the last 9.8 sale of this book was for $24.99. And this book hovers around that $3,000 marker all year long, despite the rapidly increase in census count. This was here 2 weeks ago, and since then, there's already one new 9.8 that's hit the census.
Which makes me beg the question here. Would you rather have a Star Wars 198 or an ASM 300 if they're kind of trading at the same price?
See, I would go Star Wars 1 at that price, but I want to know your thoughts in the comment section, and of course, as always,
Geek responsibly.
enough said.